Thank you guys for tuning in to the #1 podcast in Houston. We are now on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts, and YouTube, where you will be watching this. Right now, today we're here with Dende. He is a singer-songwriter, and he's very talented. I actually had the privilege to watch him perform live at the Bounce and Turn show. He had a live guitar, right? And his vocals were just amazing. I had to ask him to come on. And you said you did vocal training, right? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so when I went to freshman year in college, I was a vocal performance major. So I was a music major with a concentration in vocal performance. And sophomore year. So I had to have like private lessons and diction classes and stuff like that. Basically make me a better singer.
Excuse me. Keep vaping, guys. So right before we got on, I talked to him a little bit about where he kind of grew up and came from. If you can touch on that for them just a bit, because you said you've been moving around a lot, right?
So I was born in Austin. I moved to Katy when I was like 6. I grew up in Katy. Freshman year of college, I moved to Brownwood, Texas, in the middle of nowhere, Texas. The closest like big city to Brownwood is Abilene. Yeah. All right. And then after that, I moved to Atlanta. I went to Clark Atlanta University.
Why?
I kind of just wanted to get out of Texas, honestly, and I felt like Atlanta was where I wanted to be at. I got robbed when I was there, though, so I moved back to Texas. I lived in Denton, and then I lived in Plano, in Dallas, and then I moved back here like 2 years ago, and I've been here ever since.
And did you complete the master's in vocal?
No.
Is it kind of like music theory? Because that stuff is hard.
You have to learn music theory. So I had to take like I think 4 semesters of music theory. I got through the third one. Yeah, it's pretty hard. And it wasn't even the music stuff that made me not want to be in school. It was everything else you have to take because you have to take other stuff. So I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling it.
Yeah, and was it also because you realized you could you could pursue music without getting a degree? Yeah.
Like, basically, I just felt like I never even wanted to go to school in the first place, and I kind of was pushed into doing that. And then I was just like, this debt is gonna be in my name. Like, I'm good. I don't need it. Like, I'm not trying to be a teacher or in the operas, and that's what you need you don't even need a degree to be in the opera, but to be a teacher, you need a degree, and that's what that degree would get me. So I don't really, I'm good.
So on the Yacht Club, we like to touch on like entrepreneurship topics, creative topics, and like uprises. So can you give me your take on trying to pursue a music career, right? So like, what has it taken you in a macro standpoint? So like, what did it take you to kind of get into the mindset of, all right, I went to school per se, let's say, to learn about music, and then I started diving into it by myself. What kind of took you past that threshold to be like, all right, this is something I can actually pursue, and I'm not gonna stop until I make it to where I want to be?
So when I see people like Chance the Rapper or the Baby or Meg Thee Stallion, let's say a Houston performer performing in front of a huge crowd like that, she's in school now, but like she didn't go to school for that. Like it's just a different threshold that I need to reach, and I'm not there yet. So being able to do all these smaller shows and like open mics and stuff, I'm not doing open mics anymore, but when I was doing all those open mics and stuff, it was just like I have to do these like every week to be able to do a stadium or to be able to do a whole venue. I don't know if I answered your question, but
that was it. So you started touching on it right there, how you said you have to do open mics every week to be able to kind of get to a stadium too, right? So we actually have a huge audience that is about the hip-hop community, at least on the streaming services. So like, tell us about that grind. Like, how much work does someone really have to put in? Like you said, it's not all social media. Mm-hmm. It can be if you really hit the lottery ticket, like you pop up on TikTok or something. But other than that, if you're really investing yourself into it and learning what it takes to be an actual artist, like, like you said, you have to go to shows every single week to even be prepared, probably mentally and physically, to be on a goddamn stadium forefront, right? So like, tell us about that hustle. You know, like, how did you realize that? You know, how did you realize you had to do open mics every week to get out in people's eyes and stuff? Was there something you were doing before and you're like, fuck, this is not working, I gotta try plan B?
Basically, it was because when I moved back here, like, nobody was trying to book me because, like, they don't know who I am. They don't care. Like, they don't care. So I started going to the open mics, and I would still try to get booked, and they didn't really care. So I started throwing my own stuff. Like, you have to – at Clark Atlanta, like, the motto of the school was find a way or make one, and that kind of stuck with me. Like, find a way to do something, and if there isn't a way or it's not attainable, make one. So I was literally throwing my own shows. I did a show in a barbershop. I did a show in a clothing store. I did 3 shows in the clothing store. Like it was just like you have to grind. It's like no one's gonna hand you anything. I mean, sometimes they will, but no one's really gonna. Yeah, if you're lucky, they're gonna hand you something. But like, it wasn't very. I wasn't lucky. So like, you kind of just have to realize. I had to realize that I had to go get what I wanted. Like, you have to grind. Like, it's an everyday thing. Like, I have to touch music every day. I had to at least talk to someone new almost every day. Like, because I wasn't gaining any fans, like, just not doing anything. I just felt like I deserved it. So, no, it's just a constant grind. Like,
That's exactly it. You answered it for me, yeah.
And are you still doing shows every week? Or how often do you perform live?
so this past month, I've done shows, like, almost every weekend. But this next year, since I'm changing my pricing and stuff, probably not going to do a show every week. I'll probably go to shows every week, but I'm not going to perform. Like, it's, at this point, I feel like I've proved what I can do, so it's just like, I'm going to do them when I need to do them.
I want to touch on that real quick. How did you know when you got to the point of, all right, time to bump up my prices now? Can you tell them that?
When multiple people and like groups and venues started to like hit me up that would not listen to me before, I was like, oh, well, y'all want me now? Well, then you're gonna have to pay like more, like, for sure. So, and coming with that, like, you don't see people doing bigger. You don't see bigger artists doing 1 million shows. Like, Drake does like 15 and charges like what, a $500,000 for every, probably way more than that, honestly. Now, like, $500,000 for every one. Like, nah, you can't do that many.
So DeSanti posted this picture yesterday on Instagram, and I really liked her caption. She wrote, "The harder I work, the luckier I get." And I actually really, really loved it when I read it. How do you feel about that? Because I know there's people out there that get lucky without hard work, but do you believe in that? Like, if you keep working, things will just start to fall into your...
It's not that they just happen. I know that's not what you meant, but it's like the more that you're like around something or working towards something, you start noticing that there's way more avenues for things to start happening because you weren't doing what you should have been doing in the first place. Yeah. So the more you're actually like working hard, it's like, oh, this is easier because I'm working for it. Yeah. Like, for sure.
What was the one, we saw this one interview, and remember someone was like, hard work and something else is what luck is. Like, there's no such thing as luck, but it was like hard work and I don't know if it was consistency or something, and they're like, those two things is what luck means. Like, there's no such thing as like real luck, unless like, you know, like the fucking it's so rare that it's like impossible almost, you know, even to win the fucking lottery, you know. You know what I'm talking about though? Do you remember or no?
I don't know if it was persistency maybe, but it was talking about how you're creating your own luck. Like, from the outside, people are seeing it as like, wow, all of these things are happening to you. But really, you're like, I put myself in this position so these things can happen to me. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me about like social media, right? Because I went on your page just right now to post you as a guest today, and I see that you have like that banner, and then you only have 3 posts before that. Do you not post frequently? Did you decide to like rebrand, delete? Walk us through that process too, because I know a lot of people that listen are like avid social media engagers.
So I was like, this whole past year, I was posting like 2-3 times a day. So I had like 1,000 like posts on my Instagram. Like last week, I decided to just delete everything, like purge everything, because I have a project that I'm trying to push, and I need the focus to be on that as opposed to everything else that was in the background. Um, yeah, I post like every day. I think every day now, like once, but sometimes I'll archive it. It just depends on what I want to be on the forefront when people actually click on my page. Yeah.
That's what I do. Yeah, and do you have like a marketing strategy? Like, are you on Twitter? Are you like sending people your links, or how do you market yourself?
I have 2 Twitters, 2 Instagrams. Facebook is like heaven sent. Like people don't use Facebook like
How do you use it?
like it's Twitter. I use Facebook like it's Twitter. Like every time I have something like a stupid thought, I post it, and then it gets all our likes because nobody's on Facebook doing that. And it's just like young mothers and families and stuff on there, and they're just like, oh, okay. So, and then once a bunch of people like it and stuff, I just post a link like, oh, this is my song, or hey, I have a show, and then people just show up like from that because they're like, yeah.
People are like, by the way, check out my song.
Mm-hmm. But I use Facebook like that because like nobody uses Facebook like that. Yeah, I have 2 Twitters. One of them's like I made a burner Twitter because I got put in Twitter jail. So now I have 2 Twitters and I promote from both of them. I have 2 Instagrams and a Facebook. Yeah, I use them both. I use them all very frequently. Yeah.
That's good. It's raining.
Yeah, that's why I picked here though. Otherwise, if we were there, yeah. So, first episode in the rain. I'm the one only being affected by it, honestly. It's touching me. So walk me through your inspirations, because I heard one of your songs right before we started, and I absolutely digged it because the vibe was so different from what we hear typically. Kind of felt Chance, a little bit of an inspiration from Chance. If I'm right or wrong, you can let me know. But yeah, break us down to like what's kind of like giving you that inspiration to be like, all right, I want to strive to be this creative, and then I want to add my own.
Okay, so at first I was listening to like Luther Vandross and John Legend and stuff like that, and then like Houston rappers, and then in high school, like senior year of high school, I got really, really into Chance. That was like my first official concert. Was Mac Miller, Chance, Vince Staples, and the Internet, and that was like, yeah, I like the Internet a lot. Chance is probably one of my biggest influences for sure. He is one of my biggest influences. He's the reason that I was just like, oh, I can do this. Because he was like that whole platform of you don't have to sign to these people. You don't have to sign away your life. You can do this like independently. He's the one that had me like, oh, okay, bet. Like I'm about to be really serious about this. I love Chance. Like, yeah, I can't ever speak badly on that man. Like he definitely got me into like for real caring about stuff. Other influence, like music-wise, probably. Oh, Moses Sumney. I don't know if you know who Moses Sumney is, but he's a singer. You know who James Blake is? He's on a. James Blake more recently started like making music with rappers, but he's like British or something, and he's a singer and is a producer.
The one who sang that song, "You're Beautiful"?
Nah, that's I don't know that dude's name, but I know who you're talking about. James Blake is on a Travis Scott song on the Cool, and Travis Scott's on James Blake's album. But Moses Sumney is like this singer. He sings like really, really high like falsettos all the time. That's where I started like really getting into doing falsettos. That's about it, I think.
Yeah, that's what I saw in her story, and I was like, God damn, that's incredible.
Yeah, that's what I got that from. I was like, oh, Moses Sumney is hitting them notes. I'm gonna hit him too. Like, yeah. I'm gonna hit him.
You see that that Rap Radar interview that just dropped the other day with Drake?
I did not watch it yet.
Oh, it's good, man. I actually sat through the whole 2 hours in one sit down, and he said some like really cool shit, man. He was like, he was talking about how it's been like 10 years now, right? He's been doing what he was doing, and then they correlated it with most people talking about like a 10-year goal, and they're like, by the time you set out, oh no, here it's like instead of a 10-year goal is no longer a 10-year goal. It's just it's gonna happen at that point, right? So it's like if you consistently keep doing something for 10 years nonstop, it just becomes, and that relates to Tom Bilyeu too. Is that what you're going to point at?
Something similar, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I found it so interesting because like if you really think about it, Drake's probably one of the first artists in this generation and maybe the past decade too that like was on a 10-year nonstop yearly grind, and he's put himself in a category now that I don't even know if anyone's going to be able to match it. You know, it's like it's such a high category, it's such like a high standard or bar for anyone to reach. I just found it so interesting that it was like, it makes sense too. It's like any business, any person who puts in that much consistent effort. And then it's like that saying too, where like 10,000 hours and you master something. It's like, he's like, whenever somebody sends me a song or asks me to send them something, he's like, they know I'm good for it. Like, nobody's gonna doubt Drake. You hear a Drake album drop, you're gonna be like, there's got to be a couple of hits on there for sure. So like, I found that really interesting too. So like, what's your take on, like musically, what does it really take, and how much, like, do you put yourself in that category? Like, is this like your passion, your love, like for like the love of God until you die? Like, you're gonna make this happen for you, and you want to be like up in the stars.
100%. Dog, music is like the only thing I've ever been good at. Like, I played sports and stuff. It wasn't very good. Like, music has always been, yeah, that's my passion. I try to, like I said earlier, like I try to touch some type of music every single day. Whether it's making a beat or like listening to somebody else's stuff and writing, or just like listening to other people's albums. Like, I've been doing this thing recently where I just like listen to somebody's whole discography in order. Like, and it's like a cool studying type of thing too. It's like, yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, I feel like if you have like a constant grind towards a goal, it's not a goal anymore. It's like, that is where you're going to be. Like, that's right. Yeah. Like, for a fact. Like,
it's done. Time just hasn't caught up yet. I talk to her about that all the time too.
Yeah, it's already set in stone. As long as you're like consistently doing what it takes to get there, it's going to happen. Yeah. Like, for 100%, I agree with that. 100%.
My example with that is, I think one day we were talking about like, can't wait till we make our first million, and then I was like, we already did, now we just have to keep doing what we're doing, right? Like, it's already set. But I want to talk about your new album. Is it a conceptual album, or what is it about?
This new album is called Me. So my last project, Dark Matter, dropped in January of this year. That was kind of just to show what I can do, because I produced like 8 of the 10 songs on there. They're all different types of songs, all different genres. There's rap on there. There's like pop. There's a bunch of random stuff on there. But all the songs, I like them a lot. This one is more like what I want my sound to be and what I want to talk about. Because the other one was just like love songs and then just whatever I was doing. This one is more like to let people know more about who I am, as opposed to just what I can do. Like, there's a lot of songs where I like talk about stuff that I've never talked about before, and just my experiences in life. Like the video, like I told you earlier, that video Road, that's a song basically about my life and like stuff I've gone through just in music and outside of music. This Me is really, it sums it up. That's why I couldn't think of a name, and I was like, it's just me. Like, that's what it is.
So I know in the music industry, because I used to produce beats. One of my buddy makes music still to this day. So I've traveled with him. I've been around a lot of artists, and I know this industry comes with a lot of pressures, and there's like a dark side, right? So like, tell me how you deal with these pressures, because I know like you obviously have been in environments to where like drugs and alcohol are like staples in the music industry. Like, it's very, very. It's not, I don't know what the word, it's like the opposite of frowned upon. It's like encouraged, to partake in drugs and alcohol and to make your music amplified. And then women are not glorified, but they're, yeah, exactly. And so, like, give me your take on the pressures that present themselves to you. Have you given in the past? Have you got to the point to where, like, all right, I'm only going to indulge on celebration days, or I don't even want to indulge anymore so I can focus? So, like, give me your take on it.
I don't think I'm gonna start with the women thing. I have a girlfriend, and like I've been with her for a while. I met her in Atlanta. Yeah, not anymore. She lives here now. She lives with me.
Shout her out.
Kiera, shout out Kiki. That one, I'm going home every night, so like I'm not really worried about that. The other pressures, like drugs and alcohol, I feel like I'm not as much prone to being tempted by that, because in the past I've already done that. Like, I've woken up in the hospital, fam. I've woken up in the street. Yeah. Like, I've been in terrible situations. Like, I was like taking Xanax like daily, like 3 daily at some point, like going to work. Like, I've totaled cars because of it. I was in high school. I was drinking every day in school. Like, I'm not So at this point, I'm just like, you're not about to make me do this. Like I've already done it. I already know it's not for me. Like I'm good. Like this year, I took like a 3-month break from alcohol. Like I don't do any drugs. I don't even smoke. I drink a little bit now, but yeah, I'm not really. I'm good on it. Like,
So there's this thing to where like parents or adults always tell the upcoming generations like, just take the advice or learn from our mistakes and then improve because you can grow your life quicker too. So from everything you've been through, and I know a lot of people don't like to hear this type of advice, can you give the listeners like from your past experience why not to do it, and then why, like, how much better has your life become since you've cut these things out too? How much more focused have you been able to be? How much more growth have you seen?
I just feel like if you're gonna do something, that's fine, but don't like anything in excess is bad. So I'm not gonna tell you not to do certain things because it's not my place, but anything in excess is bad. Don't overindulge on things because it never ends well for anyone. As we've seen with the stars, like we've seen people, we've lost people. Like no. My personal experience with stopping doing all those things is I've been able to accomplish a lot in this past year. Like not doing anything, I've been able to like I've been way more focused. Like you said, I've been able to like wake up early and maximize my day, as opposed to when I was on Xans, I was like dead. I wouldn't remember anything. I wake up at like noon and I'm still dead. Like, nah. Yeah, I just feel like I feel healthier. Yeah, nah. It's just like it's like black and white, fam. Like it's a very big contrast. Like you get a lot done. A lot of people say that they function better on other substances, but me personally, nah.
Even to the people that say they function properly on substances too, I always say that I wonder if they've ever challenged themselves to try to do what they're doing without the substances present. Because I was like you. I've been an alcoholic before. I'm 28 years old. I was a huge alcoholic. I was a major drug user. I've ended up in hospitals. I've had seizures. And the past, this upcoming February, I'm going to be 3 years sober of everything. And I've never seen so much growth ever since I've gotten sober. Yeah, I mean, that's just my opinion. I mean, you look at the billionaire, I'm not talking about like the celebrities or the entertainers or the influencers, but you look at the most successful people in the world, none of these guys are indulging in anything. There's no billionaire that's fucking, yeah, if anything, they're maybe drinking socially on a, weekly or day. I don't know about the basis, but you see what I'm saying? Yeah.
And I know since you have music to use, did you use that as a form of self-expression to get you through these times?
Yeah, so I was at a point, like I literally have the words "music is life" tattooed on my chest because like it saved my life for real. Like I'm not very good at, as we've probably seen earlier, I'm not very good at putting words together when I'm speaking, but I can write something and fully express exactly how I'm feeling and probably how you're feeling. So it's definitely helped me a lot to get over certain things and not have to deal with certain situations again. It really saved my life, like 100%.
Okay, so another thing I wanted to talk about too a little bit was the industry right now. So you're 24 years old. You've pretty much heard almost everything I would have grew up on too. How do you feel about like the change in hip hop now? Like because back in the day it was you really had to get out there, right? Like you have to put in the grind, you have to put in the work, and you're using that method right now, and I like that you're doing that because at the end of the day you're building like an empire or like longevity to your career, whereas there's a lot of kids coming up that are like popping on TikTok or SoundCloud, and it's tough to pave that road for yourself when you pop like that because a lot of these people don't have the preparation and then they don't have the work ethic to continue to keep going, right? Like you, for example, if you've done shows on a weekly basis, whenever your music pops, you're gonna know exactly what it takes to keep this shit going. But someone who's in their mom's house who just blows up on TikTok, they're not gonna know what the fuck. Like, oh man, I don't even like. They might pass out after 2 or 3 shows. They're gonna be like, God damn, this is too much work. I'd rather be in my mom's house. So like, how do you feel about like the difference in music, like the hustle back then and now, and the way music's changing?
I feel like everything evolves, whether it be for the better or for the worse. I wouldn't discount the work ethic of the people coming up, but I would say it's definitely not the same, because I don't think they do need to like get out there and work harder, but it's kind of easier with the internet. Like you said, like you could pop on TikTok and stuff. These other people, they didn't even have the internet. They didn't have cell phones with internet on it. Like they had to go with the CDs in their trunk and go sell them, which, like you said, that builds an empire, because you're getting that face to face. Like you're meeting all these people and you're getting your face out there. I don't think the people coming up right now understand that they need to do that. Because they haven't had to, because the internet is like the easiest thing in the world, and you can reach literally everyone with the internet.
But it's hard to build character that way, right?
For sure, because you can portray like you mean like character, like okay.
Yeah, let me give you an example. So we interviewed Hustle Man the rapper this past week. I don't know if you heard about him, but he has like over 1 million followers, right? And he has a good presence on social media. He's really popular online, but in person, his like conversation skills were a little weak. We're gonna cut this out, by the way. I don't think we should say that on camera, but like just so we can keep the conversation going. That's what I meant by like building character, right? Because some people on social media, start recording here again. So some people on social media use that platform to hide behind a screen, and then they're so good online, but when they come in person, let's say they sit down for an interview, or they sit down to network with another artist, there's like a huge disconnect. Now you're not really vibing with that person because they lose all the confidence that they have behind the phone screen, right? So like, do you agree with that, or what? Like, what do you feel?
100%. Like the internet and phones have made it so you don't really have to have communication skills, but you do have to have them. Like you do. I used to be like that, honestly. I was like not very good. I'm still not the best at talking, but like I can at least hold a conversation. Like I had to I had to force myself to get out of my comfort zone, which is what a lot of people that are on the internet need to do, is just go places by yourself and talk to people. Like I go to places all the time by myself. Like I go to shows by myself. I go to the movies by myself. Like I'll go anywhere by myself. It's definitely harder to build a character on the internet, but you have to balance that with like real life for sure. Like yeah. Balance.
Yeah, a lot of people underestimate the power of just being fluent and having substance and holding a conversation. And it is really easy to hide behind a phone screen, but then your communication skills could essentially like start your career or carry you through anything, which is cool. What else should we talk about?
What about so what's like a checkpoint for you? Like like the first milestone you hit, or have you hit one yet? Or are you about to hit one? Or are you planning to?
I think January was a checkpoint.
This year.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me about it.
So before that, I didn't have any like booked shows. The only shows I did, I like threw them, and I was doing a bunch of open mics all around Houston. I was going to the north side, south side, like Katy, like everything, doing open mics. And then I announced online that I was dropping an album, and I was going to throw an album release party, and I was going to just perform all the songs. Like, and I was like, maybe I'm going to get a few people. Like, I got there, and it was over 150 people came, and it was weird. I was very confused by that, but it was at Club Never, and there was people could not get in. Like there's upstairs, there's stairs, there's on the ground, and then there's a door, and there was people outside, and they could not get in. I'll show you a picture actually. I'll drop trash, but that was definitely a checkpoint. Like from going to thinking that no one was paying attention to like dropping the album at midnight and my phone not shutting off the whole time, and then I get there and it's just full of people. That was definitely a checkpoint. Yeah, this was that. And I literally like went up there with my piano. Yeah, and there's like stairs right here. You can't see them, but there's also upstairs, and that was full. And there's like a balcony up there. It was ridiculous. And I was the only one like doing something. It was me. Like I didn't have anybody opening. Like it was crazy. That's a checkpoint. This time, I wanna have like at least 300 people. Like that's my next goal. I wanna have in person, cause like you can get streams, but I want people. Like I want y'all to like come and like experience what I have to show y'all. Like that's my next one.
I love that you said my next one is like 300, whereas a lot of people are gonna be like, I want 10,000. Like it's like set realistic expectations and then you grow from there, because it's just like going up a staircase. Like there's so many stairs that you like realistically can step over and get to the next one. So it's good to keep it in reach, I guess. So kudos, bro. I actually admire you a lot for like your mindset. It's in a good place.
I'm about to send this to you.
When is it? This in February? When?
February. I'm dropping. I gotta look at my calendar. My bad.
It's okay. Another thing that I wanted to ask you is, how do you get over? Because you said that you used to have trouble communicating, and I'm like a really shy person. I used to have trouble communicating as well, and I'm terrible on stage with nerves. I might not show it, but I'm terrible with nerves. Did you have that issue, and then how did you overcome it?
So the communication thing, it really was like I literally just had to go everywhere by myself. I'm a person that I want people to come with me. Like, well, not anymore, but I was like, you got to come with me. Like, I don't want to go by myself. If I had to go by myself, I wasn't going. And because I didn't like being like the only person somewhere, and I didn't know anyone, because I didn't want anybody to talk to me. So I had to just put myself in those situations where I had to talk to people that I didn't know. The nerves thing, nerves don't go away. They don't. Like, I get nervous every single time I'm on a stage. I'm right before I go on stage, and then right when I get on stage, I'm nervous as hell. Yeah. Like, if someone tells you that they're not nervous, they're lying. That's just a fact. Like, I'm gonna be nervous when I'm performing for 10,000 people. Yeah. Like,
I heard this awesome. I forgot who it was, but I saw this one interview, and they were like, same thing you said. The nerves don't go away. But if you know how to control your nerves, or at least you get used to them, whether you're nervous in front of 150 people or 100,000 people, the nerves feel the exact same. Mm-hmm. So it's like if you're able to control it and push past it with 150 people, you're going to be able to do it with 100,000 people too. Sure. So that's dope, man.
I have the single from my album. So the song is called Road. That video already dropped, so you can go on YouTube and find that. But the actual single, the extended version of the song, is dropping January 16th. And then my album is dropping February 28th, 2020. I believe it's the 28th. Hold on, let me January 16th okay. Is a single.
Okay, so his single drops today. Today. All right, so he goes by the name of Dende. I am Ray. That is DeSanti. We are the Yacht Club. All the links are going to be posted below. And thank you for tuning back in. We are the Yacht Club, the #1 podcast in Houston. That is now a statistical fact on all streaming services. And that is all.
That is all.
Back to you.
Bye.
John. Good shit, bro.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey,